So Dion Van Duin, I have just destroyed that name. I'm so sorry for the pronunciation. Ask us on YouTube, is finding work harder if you are not completely fluent in English? All right, so that is a question that we get a lot. There are a lot of people which are coming to New Zealand with a working holiday visa, which allows young people from 42 different countries to come in New Zealand and work and travel for up to 12 months, in some cases 24 months. Now, that means that usually people are pretty young, and the age range between 18 and 30, in some countries 35 years old. So that means that your English is not going to be perfectly polished unless you are from an English-speaking country. So that means that a lot of you guys are going to be coming to New Zealand to work and travel. You need to work because you need to get some money to afford to travel, but the main point usually for people is to come and improve their English, which is what happened for me when I started traveling. The main goal for me was to improve my English, and the best way to do that, honestly, it's not in the classroom, it's when you travel around and you actually practice it. So a lot of people get really kind of scared, like, what am I doing? If I don't speak English very well, will I still be able to get a job? Now, the first thing that I want to mention is that Kiwis are very, very forgiving. New Zealand is a country of immigrants, right? Almost everybody you're going to be meeting is going to be an immigrant. And so that means that people know how it feels to be in your shoes and maybe not be super comfortable with a different environment, and obviously with speaking English fluently. So you shouldn't be stressed too much about how other people would react to you, or, like, would people think that you're dumb because you don't speak English very well? It's not going to be the case at all. So now, one of the best thing you can be doing is to kind of think about your whole experience, your working holiday in New Zealand, in terms of, like, how much you're going to be improving. You're actually going to be super surprised how quickly you improve if you actually put the work into it. Meaning that, let's say you're from France, like I am, you wouldn't be spending time always just with French people. Try to be friends with, Germans, Italians, Kiwis, and Americans, and English, and so like that. Your whole group has to speak English. So if you put that, and then at the beginning you're not going to have a great English, you can do work which don't really necessarily need you to speak very good English. You can do some farming jobs and those kind of jobs. At that point, you're going to be perfectly fine. So now, what kind of jobs? So we're going to go with steps, right? What kind of job can you do if you don't speak English very well?
Yeah, so an obvious one to go for is either working in the horticulture or viticulture industry, which is basically fruit picking or working on vineyards where they make wine. So these sort of jobs are more, you're not working on the front end with customers. You're not speaking to any potential customers or anything. You're basically doing the work that's sort of behind the scenes. And obviously this is a good place to, you're working with other workers who usually everyone's speaking English, unless it is just, usually when you get a group of French people together or a group of German people together, they kind of fall back into those habits. But usually at these sort of jobs, you have people from all over the world working together as a team, and then that's when everyone's speaking in English to each other, and that's a really good place to where you don't necessarily need to have good English at this point, but you will improve by having a lot of English conversation with people. So anyway, that was just a long-winded version of the first job you can do, but yeah, there's lots of different types of jobs you can be doing. You can be working in the hospitality industry, doing sort of cleaning services in hotels and in like hostels, holiday parks, motels, that sort of thing. You can also work in kitchens, and there's a lot of like commercial kitchens, or even in cafes and stuff where a lot of people in the kitchens, they do need to communicate well together, but it's, again, not working.
Right, to say 4 words anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
We both work in kitchens in different places, honestly. And I worked in kitchen. One of my first jobs with no English whatsoever was working kitchen. You catch the 4 words you need to know straight away, especially if you're a dishwashing boy or just a prep cook.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's also warehouse work and, moving stock, that sort of thing, labourers stuff. Probably construction as well then, with that train of thought. So there's a lot of construction work, particularly in cities like Christchurch, where they're doing the rebuild since the 2010 earthquakes, for instance. So yeah, construction is another one. And I'm sure there's more we could add to the list. But
so once you have done maybe like a couple or 3 months of that kind of job, then you are able to then move on to a job when you will be able to practice your English a little bit more. I still need to do that. So at the beginning of your trip, you're going to be doing a little bit of traveling, so you get to communicate more with people and improve your English. Then you're going to get a job which doesn't require you to speak English very much. So you're going to go pick some kiwi fruit or any other example that Laura just gave you. And then after that, you do maybe a little bit more travel, and then you pick yourself another job. And then at that point, you can get a job that will require you to speak a little bit more. So that may be front of house, meaning that if you work in a cafe, you are the person that actually, you're the waiter or you take the orders. If you work in hospitality, you are the front desk, the receptionist. If you are working in a store, rather than being working in a warehouse, you are actually one of the salesperson on the floor. Just those kind of things where you're going to be able to improve your English much more. So that's personally the approach that I had when I was traveling around the world and I wanted to improve my English. And I feel like this method of kind of graduating from one to the other removed a lot of friction and a lot of kind of scare of like, oh man, I'm not, my English is so bad and I'm just not going to be able to do it. And so it gave me the confidence to be able to do that on my own. But if you are very, very, very stressed about your level of English, one of the really good things to do is when you arrive in New Zealand, most people arrive in Auckland, there are a ton of English schools and English courses. Check yourself in for like a week or two of English courses. You're going to be with other students. You're going to be living in a hostel because, well, that's going to be the only way to kind of find accommodation for that courses. And you're going to be practicing a lot, both at the school and with your friend at the hostel and at the school, when you're going to do social events and everything. That is going to be really good to give you the confidence you need. And they're not that expensive. You can find like 2 weeks of courses for under $1,000, which, 1,000 New Zealand dollars for 2 weeks of English courses is pretty cheap. So if you do something like that, you will be able to just go straight away with like super confidence to be able to work in different jobs around New Zealand. And on top of that, you can put it on your CV saying that you studied English in New Zealand, and so straight away you'll be able to actually kind of get a bit better job right out the gate. Not that actually the entry level jobs are bad. I mean, I personally, some of my fondest memories were the jobs that I had when I was barely speaking English. To be quite honest, I really do love them. So but that give you kind of multiple options to kind of address this, because it is a stress that a lot of people have. Like, this is a big barrier from a lot of people. But it's all about putting yourself in the right mindset as well. Like, before your trip, just stop watching TV in German or in French and start watching it in English. You put it in English and you put your French or German subtitle at the bottom. Just put yourself in this mind, it's this mindset of practicing English, and you should be really good. Now, we do have a lot of work tips and also travel tips on BackpackerGuide.NZ, and everything is in English. So browse the website as well. The link is in the description below, and you'll be able to prepare your trip in English rather than preparing your trip in your own language, and then you're going to get started with that. And that's the last tip I'm going to give you, just because we want you to visit our website, because it's awesome. We put our heart into that stuff. Anyway, if that was useful, like and subscribe, and in the meantime, we're getting back to the live chat.